All right. So it is the top of the hour. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome. We're so excited to have you here for the next half an hour. And we're going to be talking about planning for Digital Learning Day and how to use Formative to help plan for this really awesome day. If you'd like to, you can definitely play around in your Formative account while we're talking. You definitely don't have to, though, as we're going to be talking about more general resources. But to give you a little bit of an introduction, my name is Katie Rush. I'm a client success manager here at Formative. I am a former teacher. I taught fifth grade for about 7 years in both a general education and a special education setting. And in my free time, I like to cook, crochet, and I play on a softball team. So today, just a couple things for you to know. We are going to be recording this session and it will be posted on our training center within about a week. So if you're looking to come back and take a look at this, you'll have the recording available to you in about a week. We are going to go for about 30 minutes. There will definitely be time for questions later on. But please make sure that if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I have the chat up in front of me, so go ahead and ask away as needed. Today, we're going to go over just some basics about what is Digital Learning Day and how to use Formative for Digital Learning Day. We're also going to go over where you can find other planning resources because there are so many out there to really make this a very engaging and meaningful learning experience for your students. Okay, so let's get started. What is Digital Learning Day? Digital Learning Day, this is actually the 11th year that they've done Digital Learning Day. And it started really with the idea that we needed to highlight the digital learning opportunities that were happening and really kind of give teachers a place to experiment, try some new things, and play with the digital learning experiences that were happening in their classroom. Today, this quote is from the Digital Learning website, and I just want to read it because I love the way that it really focuses on where we are in education today. And this year, their focus is on how educators are creating robust, authentic, and personalized learning opportunities for students inside and outside of the classroom, anytime, anywhere. So I just kind of want to go into this with the mindset that this is a format for you to really kind of find a space to use some digital tools or run with it and take your whole day digital. So we're going to kind of show you a few options on how you can go kind of very simple, find it maybe a new way to use Formative in your classroom, and then also how you can really kind of level up and take it to your whole day being focused on this Digital Learning Day. You'll notice I included a hashtag here. This is the hashtag that you'll see all over social media on February 22nd of this year. That is Digital Learning Day. So it's highly encouraged for you to share what you're doing in the classroom on that day and really highlighting these ideals that is really the focus for this year. Any grade level, any subject, any type of school community, everyone is welcome to participate, and you really can participate at the level that is comfortable and flexible for you. Okay. There is a website here I just want to take you to, and I'll make sure I drop this in the chat for you. This is where you can find information on Digital Learning Day. And it also gives you a little blurb here as well. That's where I pulled the quote from. But it gives you a ton of resources, and we'll come back to this in just a little bit. Okay. What I do want to start with is I want to start small. So I want to build up to the big pieces. And I do want to tell you, when I was a teacher, Digital Learning Day was something that we dove headfirst into. And so we started by going paperless that day. And so I'm going to show you what it looks like to kind of get there, but let's start nice and small. And we're actually going to start with an exit ticket example here. Do any of you use exit tickets in your classrooms? You can throw it in the chat, or you can give me a reaction on Zoom. Do any of you use exit tickets on a regular basis? Give me a simple yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you need. So exit tickets I like because where I like to start here because they're short, sweet. They give you a lot of great information as a teacher, but they also are a very low level of entry or low barrier of entry into a digital tool. So in this case, I have a kinetic and potential energy exit ticket. So this would be something that I would use maybe right after we started to talk about kinetic and potential energy. And after I've given a little bit of instruction, my students kind of have an idea, but we haven't gone into a ton of information about it. You'll see here, I have an inline choice question, which is made up of 2 dropdowns. I like to think about this question as a multiple choice question in a sentence, okay? So my students have to make 2 choices here. They have to tell me what kinetic energy is and what potential energy is based on what I give them in their options. You'll see I've auto-graded it here by selecting the correct answer. So this question, as soon as students answer it, as a teacher, I know exactly who got it right and who got it wrong. So it keeps it really quick for me and my students. The second part of my exit ticket pushes them to be a little bit more involved in the content. It pushes them to really explain what we learned. So here's a short answer question. And all I've done is put in a picture and ask them to explain the relationship between kinetic and potential energy. You'll notice I have possible answer components here. This, again, allows me to auto-grade this question. So if my student includes any of these phrases in their answer, they're going to be marked correct. And what this does is I've taken kind of the heart of a correct answer and included it in different components here. That allows this to A, be auto-graded, which saves me time. B, makes it easy for me to go back and review my data and understand where my students are with the concept. And I don't have to now print this out and hand it to them. This is done. This is fully digital. It's already graded. And now I know how to plan for my lesson the next day as we dive deeper into this topic. Exit tickets are meant to be very short. So if you're looking for an easy way to jump into Digital Learning Day, exit tickets are a great place to start. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a copy of this formative. And so even if you are not a science teacher that teaches potential and kinetic energy, what I would encourage you to do is take a look at this format and maybe swap out for your content. What is it, the content that you're going to be teaching on that day? Can you find a way to use these 2 questions in your classroom with your students? Okay. Questions on how to use exit tickets for Digital Learning Day? So let's say you want to kind of step it up a little bit. You want your students to be working a little independently on something that's also digital. Well, in that case, maybe you want to put together a writing activity for them. So in this case, this takes a look at point of view. This is technically geared towards high school. You can absolutely pare this down to elementary or middle school if you need to. There's a lot of flexibility in this, and you'll also get a copy of this lesson as well. This lesson is set up to be done in what we call single question mode. And so each of these blocks are set up so that students move through them at their own pace. And so you'll see there's a warm up here that allows them to talk through and think through what they already know about perspective and point of view, and then relates it directly back to their life. How have you seen the perspective and point of view used? And again, this is all something that can be done as the student works through this content on their own. So if you have a day of students who are working on different activities, or this is meant to be much more of an independent day where you're conferencing with students, something along those lines, this is a great activity to use in that space. So we've got some extra content here, some formative practice that's built in to the lesson. So again, as a teacher, I get a really quick view of how my students are doing on this. And then we get into something that's a little bit more fun, taking a look at this picture, encouraging them to write out from the human's perspective and from the bird's perspective, what's happening in the picture. And you'll see this is a free response question. which actually gives the student a lot of choice in how they respond. So this is a great question type if you're looking for a really easy way to give students a lot of choice. This question actually gives students the ability to record themselves speaking. They can record a video, they can type, they can add an image, they can add a file. Lots of opportunities here for them to be creative, have some student choice and voice in the way that they respond. So lots of opportunity just within one question type here. There's also a kind of leveled up activity that can be more as a longer writing activity, where students think about the cafeteria and pick somebody to write about their perspective of how lunch goes during or from their perspective. You'll see there's an opportunity for them to write from 2 different people's perspective. And then as a bonus activity, they can actually record a video of themselves showing the points of view. So in this one lesson, there's a lot of things you can pick and choose from, but this could be an entire lesson format or day of learning around point of view for your students. So we've now taken it from an exit ticket all the way up to almost a full lesson or independent activity that could take a whole class period for your students. All right. And again, all of this was built right in Formative. You'll see I also included rubrics. There's lots of things here that I can use to really kind of make sure that the lessons and activities that I'm doing with my students are tracked according to standards, if that's something I'm focusing on. So it's not just a fun day of digital activities. It's really a day of learning that we've just intentionally made very digital. Okay. Now, I've got one more example to show you, and this really levels it up even further. This is meant to be delivered as an actual lesson to your students. So delivered in a whole group environment where the teacher is leading the instruction for the class. Okay. You'll see we have a warm-up here that can really bring the class together, build the background knowledge that they have. These responses can be projected through the view responses screen for your students, and you can actually hide names so that you can really have a conversation together as a class, about patterns that you're seeing. What is it that your students understand? What do they don't understand before you move on to actually teaching the lesson with them? You've got your vocabulary component to make sure students are understanding the academic vocab you're about to give with them or teach with them and help them learn. And then you've got simulations that are built in here to really help them play with kind of an abstract topic so that they can see in real time the relationship between these 3 sides and what that looks like. And then you as a teacher get all of this awesome formative data on the right-hand side that they're answering these questions. You understand where they're at. And so in the middle of your lesson, you can make those pivots to where they need more instruction or you're good to move on. That's then repeated throughout the lesson here, where you actually walk them through an example of how to do the Pythagorean theorem. They do some practice on their own, being able to interact with the whiteboard here. And again, you have 2 more pieces of data to understand whether your students are ready to work independently, or you need to pause the lesson, do some more work together before you get ready to send them off into independent practice pieces, which, by the way, are also included in this formative. So your students are not clicking on a bunch of different links. They're not going a bunch of different places. It's all in one space for your students. And so now you've been able to teach an entire lesson digitally. You don't have any paper that you're printing out for them. You don't have any paper you have to carry home. And so now you've taken your whole lesson and their practice completely paperless for the day. Right? Okay. That was a lot of information. Do we have at least some idea that we're thinking about now of how you could use Formative to help celebrate Digital Learning Day? And if you don't have an answer to that yet, I'm going to show you one more page before we come back and answer that question, but I'm going to ask that question again in just a second. One of the big parts of Digital Learning Day is connecting. It's connecting with other educators. It's connecting with other communities that are participating in the same day, who are highlighting these incredible learning opportunities and activities that are based in a digital environment. The hashtag I shared before, hashtag DLD Day, is what you can tag on any social media that you're sharing your lessons or your community or your school community activities. Definitely tag DL Day and Future Ready, and then also tag Go Formative. We'd love to see how you're using our platform and how you're integrating us into your Digital Learning Day plans. If you're looking for more opportunities for ways and activities that you can plan with, what you're going to do is I'm going to drop this link here for you as well. This has a bank of lessons and instructional tools that you can use to help build out your day, your instructional day. There are a ton here, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I know right now time is such a precious resource, and so finding ways to save yourself time is so important. So this digital resource space is such an awesome place for you to start. Okay. You'll see here at the top, you can sort by grade level, by category, by type. So you can narrow your search. And if you don't see something here and you plan something that you want to use, you can actually submit your resource to the sharing library. So if you build one of these fantastic formatives that you're going to use with your students, or you take one of the ones I gave you, edit it a little bit, you're ready to share that with other folks who teach your same content and grade level, you can actually submit your resource here to then share with others who are going to be participating in Digital Learning Day as well. So great way to build your professional learning community and share with that community as well. Okay. All right. So what ideas do we have about Digital Learning Day? What questions do we have? Or do we have thoughts on how we can use Formative or other tools to help celebrate this idea of, I have to go back and read the quote because it's just so meaningful for me. How educators are creating robust, authentic, and personalized learning opportunities for students. What are we thinking? Go ahead and drop some ideas in the chat if you have any. I'd love to hear how you're thinking about bringing this into your classroom or into your school community if you know you have others that would be excited to participate in something like this with you. I know my team that I worked with, this was always a big day for us. We planned together. We really shared the lessons and planning components of it so that we could go completely paperless for the entire day and also bring some really cool activities to our students. It seems like we have a little bit of a shy bunch, so that's okay. So while you all are thinking of ways that you can share in the chat with this, I'll just remind you of some places where you can continue to get support, specifically with Formative. Your training center, which is where this recording is going to be, you're always welcome to be jumping into the training center, looking for other recorded webinars or upcoming ones to sign up for. And then our Help Center has great articles that are short, sweet, and to the point to help you get what you need when you need it. The Help Center you'll find in your question mark in the upper right-hand corner of your screen of your account, and your training center is at training.formative.com. Yeah, Jill, I totally get it. There's so much now that's online. That Digital Learning Day is kind of getting to a point where it's like, oh, every day is Digital Learning Day. And that's where I think that the message that they're talking about here, just highlighting these really meaningful and authentic learning opportunities, that's really what we're focusing on this year, is how do we make it authentic and personalized and robust. And I know educators are doing that every day. And so it's really just kind of about a chance for us to shine, a chance for you all to share the awesome things that you're doing. All right. So that is all I had for you today. I know I'm a little bit short. Awesome. I'm so glad that you like the new tools. I'm happy to stay on to answer any questions, or if you have other things that you'd like to talk through with me. But I appreciate you joining me and spending some time with me today. Hopefully with the tools or with the formatives that I was able to give you, there's a few things you can use or an option for you to play with to be able to adapt for your students. And if not, definitely go check out the learning search at Digital Learning Day. So that'll definitely be a good place for you to start. And if you don't have any questions, you all have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, wherever you're at. And we hope to see you again soon in another webinar.